Good morning. Today I wanted to briefly address the subject of pain and suffering. So, whenever you're experiencing emotional pain or suffering in life, there's a reason for it. And I'm not talking about, obviously, there's a reason for me hurting. What I'm talking about is your soul is always trying to communicate with you. And if your life is out of alignment, then you're going to experience pain and suffering. In a way, the pain and suffering is really a guidance system. I don't believe we were meant to suffer. I don't believe that God put us here to have a horrible experience, a horrible existence, or to simply survive. We're meant for so much more than that. But if we're out of alignment, if we're not living up to what we could, we're going to experience pain. And so whatever you're going through right now, or if you're feeling depressed or anxious, or you just know that a situation that you're going through is causing you a lot of turmoil and a lot of pain, it's because something needs to change about that situation. So what you need to do in that circumstance is take some time, start praying, meditate, just close your eyes, focus on your breath, listen to your inner guidance. So in this world, unfortunately, all too often, we put self before spirit. That is a huge mistake. Obviously, there's so many things that we can work on, but when we think about humility, forgiveness, not being selfish, but being selfless, putting love first and foremost in all of our thoughts, in our actions, and in our words, then we're not putting self first, but rather we're putting spirit first. And spirit is the most important thing. So we actually have to understand how to let go of that self-centeredness that a lot of us on earth are experiencing and move towards a spirit-led life, because that is where we find the joy. That is where we find the happiness. And all of the temporary things of this world of form start to become so unimportant. And things start to manifest in your life spontaneously. So the closer you are on your path and your walk in your spiritual life, the easier life becomes, because you're so much more in alignment, and the less suffering and pain you'll experience because you are in alignment. So remember that the real blessing in pain and suffering in our lives, and I've been there myself, I've been through certain situations in my life that, you just really think, wow, could life be any more difficult than it is now? But remember, no matter how difficult that is to get through, that is just a season, just a short, relatively short season in your life. And a year from now, everything could be different. If you start looking within, if you start prioritizing the spirit over the self, and slowly working on things to let go of those lower energies, the need for the self to be recognized by buying clothes we don't need, or being gluttons with our food, or being self-interested in situations and doing things out of those lower energies. But instead, we consciously work on transmuting ourselves into really fully living from our spirit. And once we do that, even though we still may experience some pain and suffering, I believe it will be so much less, because you'll have a different perspective of what's going on. So a small tweak will be needed here and there to keep you on your path, but ultimately it is a path of joy, right? So when you think about any pain and suffering that you're going through, ask yourself, kind of as an outside witness, what is it that needs to be changed here? Take yourself out of that situation. See it as if you were a third person. And see what could be changed in order for that pain to be released, in order to set the path correct. And when you ask yourself this and you listen within, the answers will come, because we are promised that the answers will come. Right? Ask and it's given. Ask and you shall receive. So if you want to know the answers for that, then ask that question. See, sometimes we're so caught up in our own stories and in our own dramas that we're not able to see that, when really it is so much simpler than that. And sometimes we are required to go through difficult situations because that will serve us in the future. So for example, I might be experiencing this right now, but the reality is that later on, that situation that I had to go through is going to serve me so well to help so many others. And if I hadn't gone through that situation, I wouldn't understand. I wouldn't be able to have compassion to understand what other people are going through when they're experiencing that. You see? So there is a blessing. But oftentimes it's not quite easy to see when we're going through it at the time, right? Because it hurts. It's difficult. But in hindsight, if we look with our spiritual eyes, we're able to look back and see that as hard as that was, as painstaking as that was, it actually turned out to be a blessing to me. Because now I'm able to share my story. I'm able to empathize and have compassion for others who are going through the same thing and help them out. Throw them that rope that they might so desperately need. So, I hope that's been helpful for you today. Have a wonderful day.